Well, hey gang, how are you doing? Jonathan here for Tailhunter Sportfishing, and it's time once again for the Mexican Minute La Paz video fishing report, coming to you from La Paz, Baja, Mexico, and then covering all of the fishing action for our Tailhunter Sportfishing fleet. And this is going to cover all of the fishing action for the 11th through the 18th of May 2022. Boy, the year is sure moving on. We're getting into our fishing season. It's really just starting to come up. You know, normally we'd be deep into it by this time, but I'll tell you what, winter is just not quite ready to give it up yet. You know, if you've been listening to our fishing reports for the last couple of weeks, you've heard me say that I really think we're into springtime, we're into the warmer fish. Winter's gone. I was wrong once again. We had a couple of days where the winds came back. In fact, they were so strong a couple of days over at Las Arenas. It was so rough that the bait guys couldn't go and get bait, so we had to fish with no bait, which makes for some tough fishing. And then there were 2 days right here in La Paz Bay. In fact, right now, it's a little hard to see, but it's kind of blustery back there. But for 2 days this week, it was blowing so strong that the port captain closed down the entire bay to all boat traffic. So we had to cancel all of our fishing and all of our fishing clients here in La Paz for 2 days and fish them over at Las Arenas, which really wasn't that good to begin with. It was that rough that the port captain just said, you know, it's just not safe to be out there. So that really put the old kibosh on the bite this week. On top of it, we had a full moon, and then in between all of this, there were times where, getting a little tongue-tied, there were times when it was really cold in the morning, then other times where it was hot, it was humid. We've had the entire gamut of weather this past week. Normally, though, temperatures have been in the low 80s, high 90s, and then nighttime temperatures, a very comfortable, cool 65 to 68 degrees. But in between there, boy, the thermometer is all over the place. We even had a little bit of a rain, even had a thunderstorm this past week. Okay, all that being said, we still had some pretty good fishing. Okay, listen up. I had said that the wahoo hadn't really shown up yet. I said that the yellowtail were sort of on the way out because the warmer waters were coming in. We're going to start seeing more billfish, more dorado. Well, guess what? That wasn't the case. As a matter of fact, we had some wahoo show up again. They're eating at the south side of Cerralvo Island and also some of the high points. They're eating generally the trolled rapalas, the X-Rap 20s, X-Rap 10s and 30s, and they're also eating those nomads in the dark colors with the fluorescent stripes. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, the yellowtail. There were 2 days where we couldn't even fish. Other than those 2 days, that yellowtail bite over here at the island is still pretty darn good. There were a couple days there where we had 1 to 8 yellowtail per boat, and these fish got bigger. I mean, there were some real pigs, some real horses, some real toad yellowtail. I'm talking 30, 35-pound fish. I mean, just real husky sluggers, and a lot of fish also lost due to either inexperience or just because they're tough fish. They head right back down to the rocks as soon as they grab the baits, and the baits they want are these live mackerel that we've got right here in the bay. It does take a while sometimes to catch them, so just be patient. If you're coming down, just listen to the captain, okay? He obviously wants to catch fish just like you do, but you can't catch fish if you don't have the bait, and the correct baits right now are these mackerel. And I think as long as the mackerel are around, as long as the waters stay on the cool side, I think these yellowtail well, they're just going to stick around. As well, also their bigger cousins, the amberjack, 40, 50-pound amberjacks. So those two kinds of jacks are still here when normally they should be long gone. So that was a real highlight this week to have some nice yellowtail still here in the bay. Okay, other species, roosterfish. We're the roosterfish capital of the world. You've seen us for the last 3 or 4 weeks with the roosterfish getting better and better and better. But not only are they getting better, they're getting bigger too. Some of the fish this week, 40 to 60 pounds. None of the 80 or 90s yet, but we're seeing some of those. They're cruising along the shallows and the inshores. It all depends upon getting the bait. These bigger fish are wanting the sabelos. So like I often say, if it can wrap its mouth around a 12 or 18-inch bait, that's got to be a big mouth attached to a big fish. But they're also eating sardines. They're very close to shore. A lot of folks are getting that roosterfish that they've always wanted. So as I said, these roosterfish are getting bigger, and they are here right now, and I think it's only going to get better as we get into the season, as more of the sabalo ladyfish and more sardines show up as well. We're also getting pargo. I'm talking about the pargo lisa, which normally are here, I don't know, February, March when they school up. These are those fish that look like koi, giant Japanese koi in a koi pond. They're a mullet snapper, and these things get up to 20, 30 pounds. We caught the world record last year, a 47-pound mullet snapper, pargo liso over at the south end of Soralvo Island. So some of these fish are starting to move in now. They're schooling. Normally, these fish are early springtime or late winter fish, but it's May, and we're catching them. Also, a lot of jacks. I've never seen so many pompano, and I've never seen so many what we call palomito amarillos, which are also a version of the pompano. And there's some really nice 5 to 10 pound fish. I've never seen this many. I think we've caught more. On some days, we've caught more in one day than I've seen in an entire season. So the pompano are here, the palometas are here, there's Jack Crevel, there's bonito. I'm trying to think of all the species we caught. I think I counted 12 different species this week. Cabria, pargo, yellowtail, rainbow runners, amberjack, some dorado biting, some wahoo biting. So a lot of variety. We're really excited. I think things are just going to get better. Hopefully things will start getting warmer. But once it starts getting warmer, I'll tell you what, the yellowtail are going to be gone, the amberjack are going to be gone, and I think we're going to be into a very, very good dorado season. Just like last year. The dorado had been left alone during COVID year. Well, yes, last year they came back and they were 30, 40 pound horse-sized dorado, mahi-mahi in other areas. So I think we're going to be seeing some really nice dorado fishing coming up in the next couple of weeks. The sargasso at the north end of town, these are those big seaweed clumps that they ball up and the bait fish gather underneath them, and then the mahi congregate around them. More and more of that is gathering and bunching up at the north end of town. The water's just, they're just not quite warm enough. So as soon as these waters change up just a few degrees, I think the yellowtail will be gone, and that's going to be replaced by dorado and hopefully some billfish. So that's a quick wrap up on what's going on. I'm Jonathan for the Mexican Minute. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for spending some time and checking in with us. Please also do us a big favor and give us a like, a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll be back next week. You take care. God bless. And this is Jonathan for the Mexican Minute. I'm out.